the world through business innovation. This is based on my own experience. I was a former ambassador of Japan, so I was very much involved in state-to-state negotiation. But as you can imagine, the state-and-state negotiation is often, complicated by all the political details and national interests, so that we are not able to make sufficient progress. But business is different. Business is make a change whenever opportunities are. So we are very much eager to see how that the business can change the world by changing their own strategies and practices. We consider at a very important major inflection point in human history or planet history. So whatever we do will make the difference for the next 10 years and beyond. So how we should make a change to the positive, make a positive change is a very important one. And I think time is really now to pursue a transformative business to build a regenerative future. So the real goal should be not bound by sustainability-oriented perspectives, but advancing universal well-being. This is the concept that the Unital CFR Japan is promoting now. That is to enhance the well-being of all the people in line with the well-being of the planet. So that's why we call this is a universal well-being. That requires the initiatives going beyond the sustainability, and that the regenerative business initiative will certainly contribute to that regard. I've talked about this diagram yesterday about all the initiatives the government is doing, and also the private sector and civil society, NGOs, scholars, youth are doing, all for the best, for the future, to making the world better for the human being and for the planet. The promotion of well-being, universal well-being is the goal. But what we are seeing today is that everything is doing rather, without coordinating each other. So I hope we would like to see the many stakeholders work together to join their forces and then integrate all the initiatives to create a better future. This is a very interesting picture of where we are. We are in the Earth 1.0, where in the world today we develop only by making troubles with social and environmental issues. And that's the reason why we pledged in the United Nations that we need to create a sustainable world. The sustainable world is to have a development while trying to solve social and environmental issues. But that is not enough. That's why there is an idea, Earth 3.0, that is to create a circular world where the prosperity can be made without causing social or environmental issues. But that probably may not enough, because net zero is fine, but we have to go beyond that. So comes the idea of generative world, where we can prosper with positively and mutually enhancing the well-being of human beings and the well-being of the planet at the same time. So aim high, we need to aim towards this goal is an idea. So in order to do that, the backcasting is one idea. Backcasting is an idea not to forecast the future, what kind of future we are going to make. No, but backcasting is to set the goal first and the goal is already set. See, in our this SDG pavilion, you can see everything what the world should be in the year 2030, right? Starting from zero poverty to the peace and justice and advanced. But what the difference between this ideal world and what we are having today in today's world? So what is requires to reduce and the gap, that requires huge effort, innovative ideas, transformative ideas, right? The bigger the gaps are, the larger the need for transformative, disruptive initiative for the business to do. And this is a great opportunity for the market as well. So I'd like to invite our youth representatives to give their own thoughts on how to make that kind of transformation possible to fill the gap and then create more regenerative world going well beyond the sustainability-oriented mindset, right? So let us envision and build a regenerative world where we can achieve universal well-being for people and the planet all at the same time. And before handing over my microphone to youth representative from Japan, I would like to invite Mr. Sean Maha, the Global Vice Chair of Public Policy of the EY, to give his own view on this subject or his thinking for the future. So, Sean, the floor is yours. Thank you very much for coming. Please welcome with the big hands. Okay. Sean, thank you very much.
Yes,
The
thank
floor
you
is
so
yours.
much. Thank you very much, Ambassador Hoshino. Thank you for organizing this panel discussion, which is so extremely important. And thank you as well for your lifetime of service to your students, to your country, and to the world. You young people who know this professor know you're with a very important and accomplished man who's done so much good in the world over the course of his career. So it's really an honor to be here as your guest, your invited guest. I also want to thank my fellow panelists for putting up with the heat and humidity of Belém, and for coming all this way, because you know as well as anybody what an important place this is right now in the world, and how important it is for your voices to be heard. The subject of today's panel is regenerating the world through business innovation. And Ambassador, you've asked me to speak briefly on this topic. I'm honored to do so. You've framed the issue in a very compelling way. You ask, in essence, should we be satisfied with the progress that we're making today? Or do we need to do more for the near term and the long term and for the world that you all will inherit in just a few years? Or should our goal be one of regenerating the world, restoring health, restoring balance, and bringing vitality to our natural ecosystem, and in that way to the wider world, including human relationships? For businesses like the business where I work, and the clients we serve, the business clients we serve, regeneration means shifting from minimizing negative impact to creating net positive outcomes. For example, businesses can and should consider where their operations, where their supply chains, and where their investments can actively improve ecosystems, improve communities, and improve economies. It's about building resilience, circularity, and equity into the core business model. That, to us, is what regeneration means. And as I mentioned to the ambassador earlier today, EY has prepared a report on what we call the new economy, on what are the core principles that are required for regeneration in the economy. And we'd be happy to share that report with all of you after today's panel. So the goal is really to enable our world, your world, to thrive, not just to survive. And all over the world, including here in places like Belém, people are coming together in common cause to redefine what it means to regenerate and restore our planet and our society. In business as well as in government and in the nonprofit sector, people are innovating, they're investing, and they're working to make progress. And to a large extent, they're succeeding. To an extent people thought was impossible just a few years ago. We are making progress, and it's important to acknowledge that. If current trends continue, global CO2 emissions will peak in just a few years, and they'll start to gradually decline. And that's an important milestone. That shows that we can live and have vibrant economies without putting so many pollutants into the air. And this is happening even though the world's largest emitters of CO2, the US, China, India, are still not meeting their Paris commitments. 95% of the energy added to the global power grid today comes from renewable sources: solar, wind, and hydroelectric. The world is adding 2 to 3 gigawatts of power to the grid today just in the form of wind and solar energy. That's the equivalent of 2 to 3 nuclear power plants a day. But the energy is not coming from nuclear, it's coming from wind and solar. Battery storage capacity, which is so important to be able to store the energy from the sun and from the wind, has increased 180 times just over the last 5 years. The use of electric vehicles around the world has increased 100 times over the last few years. The state of Texas in the United States is known as one of the leading producers of oil and gas. But what many people don't know is that Texas produces more wind energy than any other state in the United States. and it's number 2 behind California in the production of solar energy. So even in a state like Texas, we're seeing a very significant transformation. Whether this progress is enough to stave off the catastrophic impact of climate change is not known at this time. But the science tells us it's not. The science tells us we're failing to meet the goals that were set 10 years ago at COP in Paris. And so we need to do more, and that's where you all come in. Your vision for the future is what is going to drive this next level of change. There's a mountain in Japan, you may have heard of it, Mount Fuji. And I think Mount Fuji is about 20,000 feet high, is that right? $30,000 feet. 30,000 meters, or 3,000 meters. My point is this, that we're about halfway up Mount Fuji. And we've got the second half. We're making progress, we're moving up the mountain. But the hardest part is yet to come. And that's why, again, why your work is so important, and you being here to make sure your voice is being heard and that your ideas are being considered, because we need new ideas, we need fresh energy, we need a vision of the future that only the young people of the world can bring. So the big question for us is not whether we need more change, we do. It's not whether change is happening, change is happening. The real question is whether we collectively, as human beings, have the imagination and the courage to not merely put a bandage on the environment, but to revive, restore, and reinvigorate it, and make ourselves true stewards of this very fragile place we call planet Earth. Throughout human history, many of the greatest movements for change have been led by young people, people like you. And I've often wondered why that is the case. And I think there are 2 reasons. The first is that young people have what I call moral clarity. They see more clearly, because they're young, the wrongs in the world that need to be addressed and fixed. The other is the willingness of young people to act on what they see, to act on their principles, to act on their vision of a better tomorrow, and to make sacrifices for that. And in that sense, it's really the young that are the true leaders of many societies, particularly at pivotal times like this, where we as human beings are facing real challenges and threats. And young people today are already participating. You're here. There are other young people here. I sat in a meeting 2 days ago. We were around a huge table in one of the conference rooms, just of young people, talking about what needs to happen, and making sure that their voice is being heard. I'll close with two thoughts that inspire me, and I hope maybe they'll mean for you what they've meant for me over the course of my life and my career. One is from a woman named Margaret Mead, who was a very famous anthropologist in the United States 50, 60, 70 years ago. And she challenged people to think differently about human relationships in different cultures. And she really promoted understanding around the world. And she said, never doubt that a small group of thoughtful, committed people can change the world. Indeed, that's the only thing that ever has. So when you go to school, when you go to work, think about the fact that you may be part of a small group of people who think the world needs to be changed, and you may think the world doesn't hear you, but you can make the world hear you, and you can change the world. The other thought that inspires me is from Mahatma Gandhi. Do you know who Mahatma Gandhi is or was? He was a lawyer from India, and he took a vow of poverty because the people of India 100 years ago were living in terrible poverty. And he gave up all his worldly possessions, and he committed himself to changing the government of India, which at that point was controlled by the British Empire. And so he led a peaceful movement to break the shackles of colonial rule in India and establish a government where the people could control their destiny in a democratic system. And he said, you must be the change that you seek for the world. So if you want to change the world, you can start with yourself, start with your own life, doing the little things in your life that can make a difference if everybody were to do them, and find other people to do that with. And before you know it, you'll be part of a very big and important movement. So with that, let me turn the microphone back to the ambassador and thank him again for inviting me.
Thank you, Sean. It's a great message to all of us. First, we are very much encouraged to see that things are moving more than we consider. The positive things are already started. So that's a very good news. And the second one is the expectation to you also that next one is each one of you, I'd like to invite you to the podium to make our own presentation. So starting with Yuki.
Hi, can you hear me? Hello, hello everyone. I'm Yuki, and I'm member of Climate Youth Japan, and I'd like to talk about approaching global challenges as a weather forecaster. Yep. Oh. How can I? Oh, it's so difficult. It's so complicated. Like this? Okay. Okay. First, I'm gonna talk about my self-introduction. Yes, I'm Yuki, and I'm a member of Climate Youth Japan, and I'm in charge of Vice Representative and Policy Proposal Division Manager. And this year, I am a leader of Corporate Study Division as well. And my job is weather forecaster. I am working at Hokkaido as weather forecaster. And I choose this job because I believe weather forecasting is one of the few careers that can directly address climate change from both mitigation and adaptation perspectives. My mission is to connect science with society, and to use forecasts not only to predict the weather, but to protect lives and shape our resilient future. Yes. Yes. And climate change issues are not distant issues. It is occurring now. We are facing very frequent and intense extreme weather events. For example, heat waves, heavy rains, typhoons, or droughts. Yeah, something else. These events are not isolated. They expand the risks on health, agriculture, infrastructure, and economies. Yeah, like that. Why is it? Yeah. Is it okay? Sorry for technical issues. I don't know why. Okay. Anyway, as the forecast, we are translate. As forecasters, we are translators of science. We take complex atmospheric data and turn it into actionable information for governments, business, and citizens. Our role is not only to predict, but to communicate uncertainty clearly, to provide options, and to empower decision makers to act in time. In short, we bridge science and society. Okay. Japan's forecasting technology is really advanced in the world, with supercomputers, AI models, and satellites like Himawari 8 and 9, like that. We can update forecasts every 10 minutes. This speed and precision are very important and useful for disaster preparedness. Japan's system is a benchmark globally, and it shows how investment in science saves human lives. Many developing countries remain vulnerable. They often lack advanced forecasting infrastructure, reliable satellite data, or trained personnel. As a result, floods, storms, and heat waves cause disproportionate damage. The gap between countries with strong forecasting system and those without is not just technological. It is a matter of equality and justice. Japan is also a country that is geographically highly vulnerable to natural disasters. However, thanks to advances in forecasting technology and other measures, damage is often minimized compared to other vulnerable countries. Yes, so as Japanese weather forecasters, we can contribute by sharing our expertise. Technology transfer means training local forecasters, sharing satellite data, and co-developing early warning systems. I want to study more weather forecasting in Japan, and I want to transfer that expertise to other countries. Yeah. Okay. In conclusion, weather forecasting is a powerful tool for tracking global challenges. It supports both mitigation and adaptation, and Japan's excellence can inspire and assist vulnerable nations. My vision is simple: forecast without borders, science serving humanity. So yeah, together we can regenerate the world. Okay, then. Thank you for listening. It is Climate Japan.
Thank you very much, Yuki. It's been fascinating. And I wish you all the best in sending the good news and based on the science, of course, through the weather forecasting to the audience. That is a very important medium to the world. Thank you. Thank you very much. Next, I'd like to invite Shuto to take the floor.
Okay, hello everyone. Thank you for being here. My name is Shuntei Gusa from Climate Japan. Today I will talk about how we can turn the climate crisis into an opportunity by empowering youth-led green business and innovation. As a young researcher and someone who has worked in a startup using satellite and AI, I would like to share how new technologies and youth creativity can unlock powerful solutions for our planet. Okay. Today, the climate crisis is reshaping our world. Extreme weather, forest fires, and floods are increasing. And this creates a huge need for new tools to monitor and predict environmental changes. But these challenges also open the door for innovation, especially in fields like AI, remote sensing, and digital technologies. These are areas where young people can contribute immediately without needing large capital or heavy infrastructure. Young people today grew up with data tools like smartphones or AI and satellite maps in every life. We care about climate justice, we move quickly, and we collaborate globally, like in COP. This combination makes youth uniquely capable of driving climate innovation. So for my experience in the startup I worked with, we focused on environmental and agricultural solutions using space technology, especially in satellite. We used multiple types of satellite data, optical imaginary, SAR, and hyperspectral sensors to analyze changes on the ground in a way that conventional field surveys cannot achieve. By applying AI-based land use classification, we supported farmers by identifying crops condition, optimizing fertilizing design, and suggesting better planting strategies. We also developed tools for disaster risk reductions, such as predicting flood or drought impacts on farmland. Seeing the farmland from space gives us a completely new perspective. It accelerates data-driven decision-making for farmer and make farming more resilient, efficient, and sustainable in the face of climate changes. This table shows how AI and satellite data transform climate actions. Traditional methods rely on physical surveys. I heard one of the physical surveys is like people in Japanese government measure the size of tree one by one in each area and each forest. But with remote sensing and AI, we can monitor forest weekly, track carbon stocks transparently. This is especially relevant for mechanisms like the Tropical Forest Forever Fund, very trendy, where reliable monitoring is essential. Yeah, I think in Japan, people can measure the trees or check the farmland condition by physical survey because it's very small island. But Brazil or the Asian country have such a big farm or forest for plantations. They really need such a technology, satellite and AI, but they don't have very few resources, especially in satellite. So I think Japanese startup and technology or cooperation can change this situation. To close, I want to emphasize this. Youth are not only victims of the climate crisis, we are creators of solutions. With access to data, funding, and supportive ecosystems, youth-led innovations can scale rapidly. Let's empower young innovators and build a net positive world together. Thank you for listening.
Thank you very much. Again, it's very exciting introduction of the project you are engaging. Changing the crisis into opportunities is exactly what we are hoping to happen now, so that you are doing exactly that one. Thank you for your efforts. Okay, I'd like to invite Misato to the floor. Please, frame transformation. Thank you very much.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Misato. Yes, and I'm a member of Japan Youth Platform for Sustainability, and I'm currently a student at Keio University. My course is policy management, and I learned sustainability under Miss Professional Kanye Norichika, and I have worked on educational startup, and I create educational contents for high school students to teach them entrepreneurship. Yes, when I was a high school student, I joined Nagoya University project, and I researched on sustainable rice cultivation, and I went to Freiburg, Germany. There is one country, it's pioneering of environmental city. Yes, and now I joined Japan Youth Platform for Sustainability, and I take a lot of action. So I think there is a lot of issues to take action and engagement in youth. The most issue is self-efficacy. Some people believe one person cannot create change, and someone thinking my action won't matter. So how do you say? The socialism often feel distant from action, and we see a lot of Japanese guys thinking to take action is very busy and too sensitive. So we think I don't feel the sufficient or participate in social movement. And as an activist, I noticed a lot of issues. For example, there is a lot of mismatch with the original purpose of the project. For example, if you want to take some action if you want to say to take action to change our policy, we wrote some proposals, but in the end, our goal is submit our proposals. So I think it's, in my opinion, we cannot follow the proposals because our goal is to submit our proposals. This is, I think it's very big problem, and of course now we just participate in meeting and share opinions. Yeah, I think so. So I always thinking it is enough to just comment our current system and repeat future risks everyone always knows. Um, to take action to my idea is plan for frame transformation. At first, there is a lot of business chance to take some action for company. Also, there is a lot of effective for students to collaboration for schools, and a lot of next generation discover the joy of taking action to yes, and we realize the necessity of regenerative, and we can our goal change. We can change the goals is towards a regenerative society. So I'll explain what is a frame transformation. It is a process that changes how society interprets as issue by offering a new lens, new frame for understanding it. For example, moral harassment in Japan, old frame is we think it's just interpersonal conflicts and not considering it is an issue. But now we're thinking it is moral harassment, and we change the policy to make some frame like moral harassment. It's change our mind, and we can change. We can take actions. The key to success to transformation. I think it is the next generation, especially those who are always active now, because a lot of Japanese people now they don't feel it's exciting to take action. I think, but I think it is very exciting. So we have to tell next generation it is very enjoy, and we have to make the place to thinking that. And we recognize our own need and shift our frame. Oh. Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you, Misato. Yes, having fun doing changes is very important, I'm sure. I'd like to then invite Haruki, our last speaker, from the youth representative.
Sorry for my slide designs. It's from Mitty. It's not exciting anymore. I'm sorry about that. My slide title is how multinational cooperation should be like. So that's what I'm thinking, or what I'm considering these days. So that's just the title. My name is Haruki Yamamoto. As I stated here, I joined CYJ in 2021 when I was in third year at university. And I was a member of CYJ until 2023. And I went to COP27. That's when I met Hoshino Sensei and Fujino-san and other many people there, exciting. And the photo was taken there in the COP27 at SDGs Pavilion. And next year, in 2023, I went to COP28 in the UAE, also as a member of CYJ. But from 2024, I joined Ministry of Economy, Trade and Industry, and I started working for them. It's my second year there. And this time, unfortunately, there was a lack of COP29, but this time, as a member of government, I'm here. this presentation is not on behalf of METI, just to clarify. And this is just my personal view on that. But to start with, I want to introduce what METI is doing in terms of how to decarbonize Japan and other countries using business. There are three principles I would say. One is triple breakthrough. What is triple? It's emission reduction, first of all. Secondly, economic growth. And thirdly, energy security. And next principle is one goal, various pathways. If you may already know it, but we are aiming to promote AZEC, which is Asia Zero Emission Community. Unfortunately, there was a demonstration against AZEC in front of delegation offices, and I saw that, I watched that, but anyhow, we are promoting it. And third principle is solutions to the world. So that is, Japan emits only 3% of the world emission, GHG emission, and we are responsible for contributing to other countries to decarbonize themselves. And to introduce you, this is Japan's NDC. Japan has a 2050 net zero goal. To achieve that, we set 2040 target, 2030 target, 2035 target, and that's just a linear goal. And this is to introduce AZEC. If you don't know it, under AZEC, the member countries are mostly ASEAN countries, except for Myanmar and Eastern Timor. And but Australia is also a member country. And within this community, it's just project-based policy. So there's not some simple policy for that, but we do it on project basis. For example, in Indonesia or in Malaysia, Japanese company go to that country and doing some projects to decarbonize, like a CCUS or blah blah blah. I don't want to introduce METI's policies for a long time, so. And but lastly, this is JCM. It's called a Joint Credit Mechanism. It's a credit transfer between countries, between Japan and some other countries. And currently, there are 31 partner countries in the world, and we are doing that. This is my last slide and the most important one. My message is, as I stated in the first slide, what should be considered in multinational cooperation. And I think the most important is to make the partnership win-win relationship. But to do that, as a government or as a country, we have to think about national security. For example, food security, energy security, economy security. And also political stability, like to which country to export and import resources with, for example. And safety, for example, nuclear power plants. And geological conditions. For example, Japan is surrounded by the sea, and we don't have any, resources like oil or gas. We have to import them, and that's unique to Japan, right? We have to think about that as well. Also, environment, it's the most important here, and resources, as I said. And I would say, to make the relationship win-win, the most important is reliance. If some country cannot rely on that partner country, then it's not partner anymore. But to make make it reliance, I think understanding each other is the most important thing. It's easy to say, but it's difficult to do. And that's just my short story in COP27. But when I stayed in Egypt, the first night I stayed didn't have hot water, and I forced to take cold shower. I couldn't imagine like life without hot water, but the owner of the house, she didn't have any hot water to live with, and for her it's normal. But for me, hot water is essential. But that, gave me an idea that my habitat might not be his or her habit. Habit. And I think to make, reliable partnership together with other countries, it's really important, like what their habit is and how different they are. And that's just my, idea to introduce you. That's it. Thank you very much for listening.
Thank you, Haruki. At first, I was worried if she's going to make a presentation on behalf of the METI, but no, she really made a point very clear. So I'd like to invite all the panelists back to the podium and the stage. And I'd like to invite Sean to give your feedback to what you heard. We have a weather forecaster, we have a young entrepreneur, we have an activist, and we have a government official. Quite a team we have today. And, did you hear your views? Thank you.
Do you want me to stand up here? Well, Mr. Ambassador, thank you again. This has been an incredible panel. Can you all hear me okay? And I'm just so impressed by what I've heard here today. And I feel that with these four people, if this is the, you and I will maybe come back here in 20 years, and these four people will be presenting to COP in the plenary session, explaining what they've done to help save the world. Because together you are an incredible team, and you're going to make a huge difference in your lives. You're already doing that. So I just want to say how inspired I've been here, how honored it's been for me to share the speakers platform with you today. And I leave here with a renewed sense of purpose and optimism about our future. So thank you again for all that you're doing each and every day, and I just encourage you to keep it up, and don't take no for an answer. Okay? All right. Mr. Ambassador.
Actually, our time is quite limited, so that we have to conclude our session now. But we started this panel with a very positive note, and the positive thinking is very important. And Sean demonstrated that there are already very important developments going on already, so that you are now feeling that energy to that path. And you have to realize that you inspire the global vice chair of EY is something quite big. So I think that is something I hope you bring back to your home and work to your own mission. And as Sean said, in 10, 20 years, let's meet here in a more official qualification and position. So thank you very much for this opportunity. It's been very exciting. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.